All right. So the recording has started. So let me just open map what I was looking at. So all the recordings that we're going to do for the class will come up in the session recordings here. Now there are a couple of documents and one video that's here. We'll talk about that in a little bit in terms of what it's about. But these are for your information as well. When you work on your assignments, this is where you'll be uploading them as with per any e-classroom that you're going to be dealing with. Now, you're not going to see this element here because this one is hidden from you. In my view, because I'm the lecturer, I'm going to see it. There's the debate forum, and we'll get into the information about that. But for now, it's going to be something that you're going to ignore because this comes up at the end of the semester. And then as you do your presentations, your chapter presentations, which we'll talk about, the recordings of them will be posted here so that the e-classroom will begin to develop a lot more as we do more. So the e-classroom is going to be expanding as we move through the program or the course that we're going to be dealing with. All right. Okay, so let's look at this document that I asked you to download a copy of. So what this does is that this is going to outline our schedule of activities and gives details of all the assignments that you're going to be that you need to be paying attention to. All right, so we're going to start. I'm going to come off the schedule here and go to the first item, and we'll go through that. So basically, what's going to happen is that we have 10 chapters from the combination of two textbooks that we're utilizing that is going to be farmed out to the class in 10 separate groups. And you all will be teaching the rest of the class those chapters. Now, if you go to the top of the listing here, for those of you who have downloaded this, I am going to deal with part 1 of the textbook, which is chapters 1 to 3. And I am hoping to present over the period of the 8th, the 15th, and the 22nd of March and get those chapters presented to you guys. So it gives you a chance to be able to work on the other things. So after chapter 3, the chapters then become the responsibility of members of the class to go through the material and teach the class the material from the chapter. So the expectation is that we want you to, as each individual, to read the chapters and try and get your own understanding, but look at the presentations or participate in the presentations of each of the separate groups for all of the chapters that are going to be presented by the various members of the groups or the various groups as we go through. There are 10 such presentations, all right? And it's a combination of the various chapters from the textbook that make up the foundation of this course. So we have chapter 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, all coming from the Exploring Leadership text. That's this one here. Then we move on to chapter 6 from the DAFT, and you'd see that distinction here with that. That'll be from this textbook here, the one that is the leadership experience from the DAFT. And then we go back to the original text, chapter 9 and chapter 8. The sequencing is important, even though it may be out of sequence with the textbooks. We're going to deal with being in communities before we deal with complex organizations. Then we're going to switch over back again to the DAFT textbook, and then we're going to be looking at chapter 13, which deals with vision and strategic direction. Then go back one chapter and look at power and influence. And then we're moving on to the final chapter from the DAFT, or the final presentation chapter from the DAFT, which is leading change. Now you'd notice that the dates already been set up for those presentations. And what you see here is that each chapter, we expect that we have 2 presentations per session. So in essence, in a 3-hour period, I'm giving each group an hour and a half per chapter to present. Now, some chapters are more dense than others. So it means that the less dense chapters, when we say dense, we're talking here about the amount of information that you're transmitting. You may not necessarily need to use all of the hour and a half. So you can have shorter time frames for your presentations, especially with some of the earlier chapters. They tend to be a little more, a little shorter. Hold a second, please. Not sure. Hello? All right. Sorry about that, guys. That was somebody from the previous class. Any questions coming up so far? You all kind of understanding what's happening? Hello?
Yes, sir. But
Yeah.
I have one question.
What's that?
Based on what you're saying here now, is you're seeing small group sizes here.
Yes. Groups of 3. There are 30 of you all in class. So the easiest split is groups of 3 across the board. All right. Now, before we go assigning people, let's look at how it's going to be evaluated. So we expect 2 presentations per day, moving from per session, I should say, starting from the 29th of March and going on till the 26th of April. And after April, when we finish, and that means by the 26th of April, we should be completed with all the material from the textbooks in terms of presenting it and trying to understand it. The 26th to the 10th of May, you'll be in what I refer to as the midterm exercise, which is a couple of questions that is set up for 20% of your final grade. It's set up to take specific aspects of the material and ask you to reflect upon them and your experience with those particular things from your real life. So it's going to be a lot of, as somebody already intimated in their discussions about the examination of the material before class started, a lot of this is going to be about you reflecting upon your interaction or your use of the material in the past. All right. We also have a debate exercise that we kind of referred to already. That is the last activity for the class and takes place on the 7th of July, 7th of June, which is the last teaching week of the semester. All right. Now you'd see 2 other things here, self-analysis and leadership and action plan. They are documents that you're going to be producing based upon some stimulus information below. And the final date to upload those to the e-classroom will be the 18th of June. So we kind of have our things laid out. So let's look at a little more detail of the various assessments. So we have the assessment 1, which is the chapter presentations. So in small groups, we will be required to create presentations on various chapters from the main text of this course, as we talked about before. And basically, what I want you to think about is that you're going to be teaching the content to your classmates. That's how I want you to view it. So you're getting the opportunity here to become the teaching force that you would like to see in presenting material to the class. Now, you're not doing it in isolation, you're doing it in a small group. So that means you're gonna have more than one individual that is working through the material with you. So of course, this is going to call upon a lot of skills to be able to get the work done in a timely fashion, pull together the presentation, and then work out a methodology of how you all are going to go about presenting to the class and teaching the class the content that you're coming across. So the marking scheme for it. The first thing we're looking for is content coverage. I need you to cover all of the material per chapter. Now, Not all of the items in the chapter is going to be relevant. So for example, in a lot of instances, they have a lot of illustrations that they're utilizing, but you have to go through the illustration and pull out what is the salient point that they're trying to make from that illustration, and possibly develop your own illustration from your own experiences. Now, because you all come from a common background of being in the protective services, you all might have examples that people in your field would tend to be able to identify with quickly. So I'm looking for those kind of techniques in your presentations or in your teaching, your class sessions. Then let's put it that way. So I'm going to be assessing the use of the examples that you're using in your explanations, how clear and not concise necessarily, but how clear they are to people who are absorbing the information, the appropriate recommendations you make to your peers in your class in terms of how they move forward with the content. And of course, as with any presentation, it must have an introduction and a conclusion. So this should actually be intro and conclusion. All right. Excuse me. All right. So the introduction and conclusion is going to be an important element that we should be looking at there. Now, for 25% of the marks, so again, I'm marking everything out of 100%. I'm going to be looking at your style of delivery. And this is where you get to choose the mode in which you're going to be teaching your class, the quality and degree of class interaction. So you have to present opportunities for the class to participate. And I'm going to be looking at the opportunities that you create. Now, I can't guarantee that people will want to interact with you, but I'm going to be mean. I'm going to say you're going to be on both ends of this equation as different students. So I would like to think that if you're the presenter, you're going to encourage people to want to encourage people to interact with you, but at the same time, when you're on the other side as the student, you're going to want to contribute and interact with people who are presenting. So you don't want to kind of create problems for them. So that's something that I'm going to be looking at as well. Use of your presentation aids. So your presentation aids is primarily going to be whatever form of PowerPoint that you develop for the use of to deliver the content that you're dealing with. Going to be evaluating that. Now that can have a number of things with it that you can utilize. So you can have little video clips and music and other things that help to make your point. Quotations and examples that you pull from other things that you're going to be looking at. Time management is also something I'm going to look at. So looking at you staying within your hour and a half time frame. I mean, if you go over, because there's some chapters that are very dense and may kind of go a little beyond it, but we have to be a little careful here because I have a 5 o'clock class that starts up after I finish this one that I need to make sure I get to. But there's some leeway with that because I would like to move that class to 5:30 instead to give us a little wiggle room. The last thing is use of citation. So even though you're doing a presentation, there's still methods of citation that I am expecting to see completed in your chapter presentations. And that will be the APA format. Everybody understands what I'm talking about when I say APA, right? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay, good. So it'll be a combination of a citation list that comes at the end in one or a couple of slides, and in-text citation along the way when you're presenting. When you start to go through the textbook, especially the Exploring Leadership, you're going to see how the citation is utilized in that text, and that might be useful in terms of showing you how to kind of utilize it when you pull particular quotations out of certain things. You can utilize it that way. All right. Any questions about this? This is 30% of your final grade. Now, upon completion of your presentation, as soon as you as soon as the groups have finished presenting, we'll be done for the evening. But each group that presented will come back and I will have a private discussion with them online, and I'll give them feedback and their scores immediately after and let you know what what was right, what was wrong, what might need work, what kind of stuff like that. So you're not posting to the e-classroom the PowerPoint presentation that goes into this area here that we call the this thing here, the group presentation. You're not going to post your document yet into this element here until I give you your scores, because if there are things I need you to address, then um, there's time for you to make a kind of repair and then come back with that. Okay. So far, so good. You're understanding and that element.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good.
Yes.
All right. So again, this is 30% of your final grade. So it's a significant um, element of evaluation that's going on. 50% of your final grade. And I want you all to do well here. So it means that if you need help, you want advice in terms of what you want to do or what you can do, that is something I'm willing to work with you guys. But you have a couple of weeks to kind of develop that thing as well. All right, now the debate that we talked about before, because of the size of this class, we will be able to debate at least two of these topics in the class, and there's a system for the way we're going to do it. These are the topics there that we're utilizing, because these are topics that are important to the concept of leadership, the whole idea of leaders being born, not made, and the gender issues that surround, even to this day, women in leadership as opposed to men in leadership positions. The alternative area of transformational and transactional leadership has to do with leadership styles. So this is also something, but you'll get some opportunities to choose which two of the three you're willing to debate, but that'll come up later on when we've completed all of the content. Because as I said, this is an activity that will be done on the last teaching week of the semester, which is the 7th of June. And that is going to be an exercise and a whole lot of the content that we're going to be going through in these areas and chapters. All right. Now, I spoke already about the midterm assessment exercise. It counts for 20% of your final grade. Again, it's going to be done or set up when we've completed all the material from the 26th to the 10th of May, 26th of April to the 10th of May, would that be the period during which you'll be exploring that information. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not going to have sessions. We'll probably have a session maybe on the 3rd of May, in between, to start preparing for the 7th of June. I mean, although we will have, if we run to schedule, we'll have a fair amount of time to be able to do preparations for the debate, because we also have to prepare for the debate. So while we're doing the midterm exercises, that's a take-home assignment, basically, that you're going to be doing. But it requires for reflection, and reflection requires time. You can't reflect, immediately. The quality of your reflection will not necessarily be deep enough and good enough for the nature of the exercise that you're looking at. So it'll be a set of questions that will be loaded onto the e-classroom. So when you click on mid-semester assessment, there'll be a document for you to download here. I will give you the document as well. Before I show you all that, before those questions will what you'll be utilizing to generate your discussion. All right, so that's the mid-semester exercise. Now, we then have the two final assessments, assessment 4 and 5. So assessment 4 is one that you can actually begin working on now. So what you're going to be doing is reflecting on your life and writing up an autobiography of yourself, who you are, why. With basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be evaluating yourself as a person, going backwards, or what we call retrospective analysis of your how you've become the person you are today. Now, because you all are significantly older than most of our students that we may engage with in the rest of our programs, it means that I expect that this will be a much longer process for you, because you even if you just go back to your own parents, you could even, there's no limitation as to how long this can be, and there's no limitation to how far back you want to go. But you want to go as far back as possible in analyzing your family history to be able to start to see the influence that your past has had on who you are today as an individual. And the questions that are listed here are designed to help you guide you through that introspection that you're going to go through. Your family history, your family traditions and customs, analyzing, you're just listing or identifying those customs and traditions that you have, and looking at trying to evaluate how they have influenced you in your life, and specifically how have they influenced your ideas about leadership. Um, Evaluate the first time you felt you've displayed leadership potential. That could be early on in life, could be later on in life. It varies based upon who and what experiences have influenced your values and philosophies, as opposed to critical incidents and mentors who have caused transformation in your life. So there are two elements two different elements between item 5 and item 6 that you're looking at there. So things like your parents and teachers have a tendency to be those constant values that would tend to influence what you value in life. Your religious background is something that might influence that as well, and would also influence your philosophies and how you view things around you from that perspective. Um, as opposed to that, you may have met individuals or may have experienced things that have caused you to make sudden about changes in your life as you've moved through it. Now, unfortunately, sometimes the incidents or the critical events in life tend not to be good ones, or they can be. So you might have experienced some sort of loss in your life, so there's people dying, or losing a job or something along those lines can help to create some form of impetus for change. And particular individuals who might have come into the picture of your life and create a thing. But other things can cause those kind of changes as well. Having children, um, getting married, buying a home, those kind of things can help to change your perspective on things, and have a residual impact upon how you've shaped yourself or become the person that you are. All right. So those are the things that you're going to be working on. So this is something that's going to take you time, and I would like you realize that very little course content is coming into it. So it's something that you could start working on, and start to write up and start to work in what we do in the course itself and how it influences you here. Now, the way in which it's being marked is some basic introduction, question 1 to 6, and then a conclusion. That's 14 marks there. We're just looking at some awarding marks in terms of weighting. So you see, all of the questions are relatively even in their weighting. Now, the area that you want to pay attention to that I will be looking at is your use of language in the setup of your document or the writing of your document. So I'm looking at your grammar, punctuation, spelling, how you construct your sentences, and the words you choose to utilize, so word selection. The next area that's 10 marks, and then how you've organized the document. So you're designing a document primarily for academic purposes, but I'm giving leeway to people to create it more like a journal. So you can use photographs, you could use images, you could use quotations from various texts that you found that have inspired you and that type of stuff. Again, if you're using text that is not your own, then I expect citation. Now I haven't put citation here because the vast majority of what you're writing about is going to be your own stuff. It's about you. So citing yourself is not necessarily going to be something that you need to do. But if you do, in fact, utilize sources outside, I expect to see appropriate citation when necessary. All right. But the documents usually have to have to be organized in such a way there's a title page. You utilize a readable font. I would like you to use double line spacing because it helps me to be able to read things easily. And it's 30 of you, so it means that we're going to look at 30 of these. This is just one class, so let's put it that way. I have 5 classes, so lots of reading. So that helps me to, stop having to buy all these classes, page numbering and contents page and those kind of things. I see that you all can utilize this as a document that you can spend some time with and really analyze yourself. Now that brings me in terms of something that you could utilize to assist would be these tools that I put up here: personality tests, learning style inventories. Those things are designed to assist you when you're trying to understand yourself a little better. Right. Now, the first set of presentations about understanding self and understanding others also has, if you let those chapters go and get those presentations done, you can start to see where those things can come in and help you to kind of look at this and try to understand yourself even further. All right. Okay. Any questions about this one? This one carries a 20% weighting for your final grade. Any question about this? It looks okay so far. Yes, no, maybe.
So when is it
Looking
due?
good, sir.
Sorry,
When is it due?
it's going to be due on the 18th. It's right here on the top here. It's due by the 18th of June,
Thank you.
but you can submit it before. All right. That answers you. That's clear.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. So the next writing exercise is the last one that we're doing here. But this one will require that the vast majority of this will be written up when when we've completed all the material and more or less even completed all of the exercises in the class, which includes the debate exercise. But there's one element here that you can actually deal with today, because you can actually write up the response to this as soon as they finish the class today. All right, and that's question one. As you commence this course, reflect on what are your expectations of the course, your lecturer, and yourselves. So this is one I would tell you, open a file and name it BUSI 203 CRN so and so. Put your name in and title it Reflections on Leadership Plan and write your response to this first question. Save it and left it right there. Because you'd see the second question is at the end of the course, reflect on how your expectations identified in that question above have or have not been met. All right. So it's a before and after. So the only way to really get this done properly is for you to write it out now. Because if you go trying to write it up back, if we get to the end of the course, then it's not going to be truly reflective of how you feel now as we start the course. So it's a good idea for you to kind of grab the information from now in terms of your perception, your feelings. Now, again, this is all reflective. There's no need to be citing anything because this is about how you feel. It's about what you expect. And the same thing is going to go on with the other questions. And you'd understand why you need to let the content go and get done before you actually start to respond to these questions, because the questions are about how much have you changed as you've moved through the semester. That makes sense? Describe what you've learned about yourself during the semester in relation to your capacity to demonstrate leadership. You understand? All of these questions are going to be about you reflecting on yourself, reflecting on your life, reflecting on what you've done, reflecting on the material, and start to put the two together and start to write about it and express it. So this kind of journaling activity is one of the most, I have found, one of the most powerful methods of evaluation of students in terms of how much a course has impacted upon them. And we'll see the linkage between the assessments that we're doing and the learning outcomes of the course, which I'll deal with when I'm dealing with the first presentation. All right. So again, these questions are guiding you through this process of developing your final reflections and leadership action plan. Because the last question, identify your leadership style and describe 2 action steps you can take to continue your development of your leadership style as you move through the future, as you move into the future. It's going to also ask you to assess how have things changed in terms of your philosophy of leadership from before to now. So those are kind of things we're looking for in terms of transition and change that we're hoping the course is going to be dealing with. And you'd see the connections when I go through the learning outcomes next week when we're looking at that. Again, similar marking scheme as before. If you need to cite, you cite, but the vast majority of your marks are for your responses for the various questions, including introduction and conclusion, and your grammar, your use of language, and document organization. Again, it's all the same material that you need to be doing. When you're creating the files to upload these, I need you to set up. So when you come here and you're uploading them, name your files utilizing the course code, course CRN, and your name, so that everybody's course is going to look different. All right. So when you upload, so if I view submissions here, everybody will have their own document that comes up here. All right. And I will be needing to read those things, and then I'll upload your scores, not here. I'll upload your scores on the e-classroom, not the e-classroom. I'm going to upload your scores in the in Banner. Now you're okay, so this is not your class. CRN. This is you guys here. So your score sheet hasn't been set up yet because we still have registration going on. The add drop period is going on. By the way, just out of curiosity, everybody from your group is registered in this class, right? There are no stragglers out there who's trying to get into one of these classes, right? Who's the group leader for this group? Okay, I can't be talking to myself, right?
So,
David,
so
yes.
I think everybody registered now.
All right, well, just check and make sure, because even though it's closed, if there's anybody who's missing, we can put them in. I can get them added in, because all I need to do is to let the other department know. But they should have already submitted a course override form in any case, if they're still on the outside waiting to get in. But it'll be a nice cue if you guys know already who's doing what. All right, so all right, everybody kind of understands what's happening. So I want you to submit everything for the latest by the 18th of June. So I get enough time between the last 2 weeks of June to mark and put your grades up by the 2nd of July. That's the turnaround time I have for putting in marks for the course. That sounds fair, guys. Everything looks relatively fair in terms of what we're doing.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Yes.
So I know you guys already have little groups set up, but the limitations you have will be 3 people per chapter. Now, I don't want to insist on putting you into groups myself. What I prefer is that you all get to choose what groupings you want to deal with. So what you need to look at would be the titles of the chapters, which will give you an idea of what the chapter is about. And you all can start indicating to me who wants to go where. Now, we do have some people who are absent, so
So, question.
yes.
When we form the groups, you will be assigning who will do which presentations,
Which presentations?
or we have to do presentation for all, or you do not do
No,
presentation
no,
for
no,
all.
no. Each
This
group
chapter.
is taking one presentation, one chapter. What we're doing is spreading the load around. Every group is going to take a chance at teaching the class. One chapter. You understanding it now? So let's say I take the first three guys, Adams, Bailey, and Batiste, and I put them into presentation one. They will be teaching the class, the entire class, on the 29th of March for an hour and a half, the chapter on understanding self that comes from this textbook here. All right. So they'll be, I'm dealing with the first thing, they will be dealing with this chapter here, understanding yourself. So they will have to go through this chapter, evaluate it, work out how they're going to be assessing it and teaching the content from it. And they will then teach that chapter to the class, and then they'll get marked based upon that. That constitutes 30% final grade. That make better sense to you now?
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the job now is for us to make up the groups for each chapter. So what I want people to do is to think about, now you don't have to make decisions this second, but we need to do it before the end of class because I'd like to update this document, unless of course you all want to meet privately as a group and make some decisions as to how you're going to but remember you have some outsiders in this group as well, right? You have one person who's not from this group. Can't remember the name. And then we have somebody who was absent. That was Holder Thomas, and this girl seems to be off too. She didn't give a response. That was Julian. Is Julian back on? She came in, but she didn't stay. We have connectivity issues. What you all thinking? Don't you all have little groupings already?
Well, for accounts, we had some groups.
Small groups?
Yeah.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is let me force your hands. Let me ask Adams, which of the 10 chapters do you see as do you see something of interest that you'd like to tackle?
So they'll let me watch the chapter.
Say again?
There. So let me just take a peruse all the chapters there again.
All right, let me try and fit it here for you to get all the, unfortunately it's gonna get a little smaller. The last chapter that you're not seeing is the chapter on leading change. That comes from Dan.
Some teams and groups.
Teams and groups. All right. So that's you. So this is what I mean. So now what we have to do is copy this. We come here and we say, bam. So Ron Adams, sorry, wrong one. Hold on. Teams and groups. Right. So we put you there. And we say, okay, so Ron Adams is the first person of a team of 3 that is going to be dealing with this chapter 7 from the Exploring Leadership, who will be dealing with teams and groups. 2 other people need to join Ron Adams there.
So
You
we
understand?
So they have to mention names now, or could they?
They need to volunteer now once they're here.
So I could take teams and groups also. I'm not Mongo.
Mongru?
Mongru. Well,
Yes.
myself, Adams, and Galen, we working a group
Okay,
before,
cool.
so
No problem.
yeah. So we're
So
now discussing that.
do we take Mongru out?
Yeah.
Well, myself, Ron Adams, and Galen Edwards, we were working a group from. So we're now discussing the WhatsApp group that we don't work together again.
Who's Galen? Edwards
Yeah,
Ali.
Edwards Ali, yeah.
All right. So and myself is who?
Cromwell.
Cromwell, David.
Yeah.
All right. So just like that. That's what I mean. If you have
All right,
pre-existing
yeah.
groups, it helps.
Sister,
Well,
All right.
sorry, right
our next group want to form there.
Right. Go ahead.
With chapter 6, courage and moral leadership.
The chapter 6, the daft.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Keith Bailey,
Keith Bailey.
Yes, sir.
Chapter
Ishmael
6.
Noel.
Noel.
Ishmael Noel and Kevin Prantom.
Tom.
Excuse, sir.
Yes.
Barry White here.
All right. Pull a back.
Myself,
Uh-huh.
Joanne
Hold,
Bennett.
hold. I had a copy paste. So there's two different documents I deal with here. Okay. All right. So Barry White is the first person. What
Yes, sir.
chapter? What presentation?
We're doing chapter 10.
Chapter 10 or presentation 10.
Presentation 10.
All right.
That would be leading change.
That's chapter 15, right? Okay.
15, yeah.
All right. So it's you who again?
Joanne Bennett.
And
Randy Small.
Still Sheldon Gibbs.
right, Sheldon. What presentation?
Presentation 3.
Presentation 3. Integrity and moral purpose.
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Who
Cian
else?
Jack.
Natasha Lopez, understanding self.
Okay.
Yes,
Hold
ma'am.
on. Let me finish with Gibbs first, and then we'll do that. So
right.
Gibbs, who are the other people in your group?
Cian Jack and Clyde Harrison.
Jack and Harry Prasad. Help me. What's his surname?
Clyde Harrison.
Clyde. All right. Good. All right. There he is. Right there. Copy. Righty then. Okay. So, all right. So the person who wanted the other chapter now, who's this?
Can we do understanding self? That's one. That's for us.
That's
or for you?
presentation 1. Yes, on the 29th of March.
Um,
Understanding self and understanding others both go off on that day. Yeah? So it's 2 presentations per session.
Okay. We will do understanding others.
All right. Who's this though?
This is Natasha
Lopez. All right. Cool.
Yes.
Who are your
Alongside
partners in
Nicole
crime?
Joseph,
Joseph, Nicole.
right? And well, we had a group of 5 and 6, so we had to choose, and the others will have to form. So Rohan Lawrence, I don't know if he is willing to join us.
Rohan Lawrence. Does he have a choice?
Maybe.
Oh, yes.
I don't think men don't really have much choice in the matter when it comes to so much women.
And we outnumbered here. In the class.
Exactly. But he's outnumbered in his group. I gotta tell you that.
Okay, sir.
All right. All right. You have another grouping that of 3 others to take up another chapter.
Is it me you're speaking to, sir?
Yeah, you said you had a group of 6. So
Well, we lost a member, so it's Mauricia Julian, Majid Khan, and I don't know who else would be willing to join. I know I call him new, his nickname. He is new to the class. I don't see he's listening. Maybe you might want to join that
That
list.
is Batiste.
Batiste Ian. All right. So give me those names again. Julian.
Mauricia Julian.
All right, hold on. For chapter 1, presentation 1, right?
Yes.
All right. So Julian
Majid.
Khan.
Yeah. And Batiste. Batiste was the first name?
Ian.
Ian Batiste.
Yeah. All right, great. So we're going. Baptist? No, it's Batiste, not Baptist. All right, so okay, so we still have a couple of other chapters, presentation 6, 7, 8, and 9. So that means We still have 12 people who have not yet been assigned.
Modest.
Mr. Morris, Joel,
Power and influence.
power and influence. Okay, so that's presentation 9. Okay, who are your partners?
Petal pair.
Petal pair. Hold on, let me get that.
And Kareem Joseph.
Kareem Joseph. Right, good. All right, so we still have 3 more groups, which means that there are 9 people.
Presentation 8.
Presentation 8, who's this?
Kevin John.
Strategic vision and strategic direction, right?
Yes, sir.
Who's your partners?
Leon Job
Job,
and Dixian.
Dixian, Ola Thomas, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you all will inform her because she's not here today.
Yes, sir. She unwell, so we'll tell her.
Yeah, I know. I'm hoping it's not too serious. You all in touch with her?
It's the she will get over it, sir.
Is it COVID?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. All right. Because I know I was told earlier today that she went to the health center or something. So
Yes.
all right. So we still have 6 people who have not yet been assigned.
Yes, sir. Presentation 6.
All right. Who's presentation 6?
Blaine Wilson.
Wilson, Blaine. All right, cool. Copy. All right, Blaine Wilson.
Kareem Morris.
Morris. All right. Who again?
Colin Paul.
Paul. Right. So now we have one last group. That'll be complex organizations.
Yes, sir. This will be Nina Rollins.
Rollins. All right.
Ramdat Mongrel.
Right. Hold on a second. All right, hold on. I'm having a problem with my display mechanism here. Hold on a second.
All right, so Kareem Morris trying to get in.
See? Hold on. Huh? All right, guys, you're still hearing me?
So
Yes,
I'm
sir.
here.
Yes, sir.
All right, I need to shut down and restart because something went wrong with my my output display. But you all stay put. I'll be back. All right.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Not hearing, sir.
Sorry, my bad. The mute was on. All right. Yeah, I had some serious failure went on here just now there. Lost my entire screen there for a minute. All right. We were working on one last group to put into the
Yes, sir.
I hope the damn thing saved because I had to exit without my word. It did not say I didn't save the document. Oh, it's so horrible. Let me start this back. Hold on a second. That. Oh, wait a minute. See document recovery. Right. Okay. Save OneDrive. No, not OneDrive. All right, auto recovered. Okay, cool. I think the last group I was dealing with was presentation 7.
Yes, sir.
All right. Who's the who remembers for that group?
Nina Rollins.
Rollins. Right, yes, I remember that. Copy. Rollins. Who again?
Ramdat Mongrel
Mangru.
and Kevin Suknanan.
Kevin Suknana. All right. Kelvin, is it?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So I think that's everybody. Let me share my screen so you could see this again. Now I have another class waiting on me to join them. So we're gonna have to do this. I'll update it on the e-classroom so that you all could download the updated format. Would that be okay? All right, so we have presentation 1, Julian, Marcia, Khan, and Batiste. Presentation 2, Lopez, Joseph, Lawrence. Presentation 3, Gibbs, Jackson, Harry Passad. Presentation 4, Adams, Edwards, Ali, and Cromwell. Presentation 5, Bailey, Noel, and Frank Tom. Presentation 6, Wilson, Morris, and Paul. Presentation 7, Rollins. Why is this so different? All right, Rollins, Mangru, and Suknanan. And presentation 8. Let's just push this over a little bit. All right, presentation 8 is John, Job, and Holder Thomas. Presentation 9, Modest, Pay, and Joseph. And presentation 10, White, Burnett, and Small. All right, that looks good. All right, so next week, guys, what I'll do is I'll first off, everything looks correct there, right? So what I'll do, I'll update the file online on the e-classroom. And see, we overlapped into another class. Yeah. All right. So what I'll do, guys, is I will I see 2 hands are up. You all have questions? Blaine and I don't know who the preschool thing is. Okay. All right.
That's Modest. Sorry about that. Take it.
Right. Okay. No worries. No worries. All right. So I need to basically kind of leave you all now because I kind of have to rush into another class because they're lining up to come in. But before we go, let me just find out. You all have anything else you want clarification on? Or would you wait until next class and ask them and we could try and get some clarification there?
Next class.
Next class? All right, guys, I appreciate your help with this because I know we went a bit long with the first part. I'll come back to that list of animals in the next class and talk to you about what it is that I was trying to do with that exercise. All right. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I will try to make arrangements with the following class to start at 5:30 rather than 5. So that will make it not so tight. All right. Okay. All right. So let me stop the recording because that is something. Whoops. Yeah.